Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we are going to talk about making your own sublimation fabric. So yes, you can sublimate on fabric and then use it for a variety of projects, including sewing projects. So first we're going to take a look at making the sublimation fabric, and then we'll talk about ideas for using it. Now, I did want to note that the prints I'm using, I'm going to use, I think, 2 different prints in this video. The prints I'm using are available for free, and I'll leave a link in the description below this video. You can sign up for my email list to get those prints, and they are all sort of a watercolor floral type pattern. It is a set of floral patterns. If you want to get those and use them for other sublimation projects, you're welcome to do that as well. So now let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use. You're going to need the following supplies: protective paper, heat-resistant tape, heat-resistant gloves, the sublimation prints, and we'll talk about these in just a second, and then the fabric itself. So you can get this fabric a variety of ways. You want white polyester fabric. So this spec here is just 100% white polyester fabric. You might purchase that from the craft store or online. I'm also going to try a couple of fabrics made for sublimation to give you some variety and comparison. The first is this sublimation fabric sheets from PYD Life. They're 12 by 12 sheets and they're kind of like a canvas material. And then this is sublimation suede fabric, also from PYD Life. It is a 2-pack, 1 yard each, so 2 yards are in the package. So I'm going to sublimate each of these so I can kind of show you the difference. I will say right away that this is more of a cream color, and this fabric I purchased at the store is more of a white. No matter what fabric you pick, you will need sublimation prints for this process. So this is sublimation ink printed on sublimation paper from a sublimation printer. Now, printing as large as possible might be beneficial if you have a large pattern that you're going to sew this fabric into. So for instance, a lot of my printers, the maximum print size is 8.5 by 14, and you can see a couple of prints I printed on that large size paper here. However, you can do this project with 8.5 by 11 sheets. You can either make small projects with this or piece the sublimation prints together. I do have another video on piecing sublimation prints together. I'm not going to go into full detail doing that on this video, but I will link to that video in the description below this one. I would use those same techniques to piece together the prints. I don't particularly like piecing together prints. I feel like it's difficult to do. If I wanted to make a very large piece of sublimation fabric with a custom print, I would probably order the sublimation print already printed on a large format sublimation printer from a place like Heat Transfer Warehouse. First, you want to preheat your fabric. I have my heat press set to 385 degrees for 55 seconds. I put the fabric in. Now, using protective paper on the top and the bottom is optional at this point. However, some polyester fabrics can be delicate. So in order not to get a polyester fabric stuck to your heat press, it is wise to go ahead and cover this up, especially if you're pressing a fabric for the first time. I usually use protective paper on the top and the bottom for every press, just to make sure that I don't make a mistake. I am using my Cricut Auto Press for this one. However, you can use any heat source that you would like. And be sure to preheat the entire piece of fabric. So this piece of fabric, I cut it a little large, so I moved it and pressed the second area. You do want to press the entire area. And for the preheat cycle, I do 385 degrees for about 10 seconds. So that preheat cycle will remove any wrinkles, any moisture, and it will also sort of pre-shrink the fabric. So if you're having trouble with ghosting, your prints moving, that might be the issue. Now that you've preheated the fabric, you want to lint roll it off. Now, I am going to just sublimate this one on one side. Now, this is just the fabric from like the fabric store. You will notice, hopefully you can tell, it is a fairly thin fabric. So it really wouldn't be a great fabric for doing a double-sided print. I don't know if any of the fabrics I'm going to do would do a double-sided print. Sublimation is going to kind of bleed through. If you wanted a double-sided fabric, you could sublimate 2 sheets of this, sew them together, or you could look for a thicker polyester fabric that would allow for that. So for this one, I'm just going to add my sublimation print, and what I did was I cut this oversized. That way there's plenty of area around the outside edge, and I can trim it off later, so I can trim any white areas off later. Then I'm just going to add heat resistant tape, and I generally just add it to the 4 corners. And then again, I'm going to put protective paper on the bottom as well as the top. Then we're going to heat press 385 degrees for 55 seconds. And I am doing all 3 different types of fabric. I'm going to show you the results from the 3 different types of fabrics that I'm going to compare. That way you can make a decision on what type of sublimation fabric is right for your project. Once your pressing time is up and your heat press lifts, you can remove the sublimation print immediately and see those gorgeous results. Now let's take a look at the results on each of the pieces of fabric. This is just the polyester fabric from the craft store. I do have a source for this on Amazon and I will link to it in the description below this video. So you can order white polyester fabric by the yard from Amazon. This is a very white fabric and the sublimation print turned out amazing. Now the fabric is fairly thin. So you can see from the back here that you can kind of see the sublimation print through it. However, the sublimation turned out great. The fabric is really great feeling. I mean, yes, it is 100% polyester, but the feel is really great in my opinion. I really think this is a great fabric for your sublimation projects. So this is definitely my first choice. My second choice are these fabric sheets from PYD Life. So they are like a canvas texture. They are slightly cream color when you start, so the colors are altered. You can see that here. However, they do sublimate great. And they are very thick, so it's kind of like canvas on one side and polyester type fabric on the other. So both sides are not canvas. So here I sublimated on the canvas side and you can see that canvas texture through the sublimation. And then on the polyester side, I did another sheet and sublimated on the polyester side with a different print, and it worked great as well. So these sheets can be sublimated on both sides, and if you're looking for a canvas or rustic look for your sublimation fabric project, this would be a great alternative for you. Now, the fabric is fairly thick because it is like a canvas side and the polyester side. However, it is really great, especially for like home decor projects where you want something with a little weight. I think this fabric would be a winner. Now for the one I did not like. This is that suede-like fabric from PYD Life. I sublimated, so one side is kind of suede feeling to me, and the other side is very, very polyester feeling. So I sublimated on the suede side because that's the side I would want to use if I use this fabric. This polyester side does not feel good. I would not want it on my projects. So I did the suede side because I could see uses for it. The sublimation, as you can see, was very faded and did not turn out well at all. So I was not impressed with this fabric. However, if I sublimated on the opposite side of the fabric, so the very polyester feeling fabric side, it did do fine. However, I could purchase polyester fabric that is lower cost and a better feel to me than this stuff. So I did not like the suede-like fabric from PYD Life. It just did not work well for me. So in summary, I would definitely choose a white polyester fabric, either from the fabric store or my Amazon listing below. If you want something more home decor fabric canvas look, then the PYD Life sublimation fabric sheets are a great alternative, and I will link to those below as well. I will link to the suede fabric, which is my third and last choice that I did not like. If you want to try it for yourself, you are absolutely welcome to do that. So first of all, you saw in this video that not all sublimation fabric is created equal. So you might have to shop around and pick your favorite sublimation fabric. I'm going to link to my favorite white sublimation polyester fabric in the description below this video, as well as those canvas-like PYD Life sheets. I also liked those. I'm going to link to both of those below this video. You might give those a try, see if that's your favorite, but definitely shop around. You are going to want to pick a fabric that works well with sublimation and that you personally like the feel of. I think that the feel itself is going to vary by the type of project that you're making, as well as just your feel and what type of fabric you like. And then once you have the fabric like this, you are just going to, you can cut off the white edges, have a sheet of fabric. You can just go ahead and cut your pattern piece out of the center of this. So what are you going to use this for? I would say sewing projects. If you only have a small printer, small sewing projects might be the key for you. Or like I said during this video, getting a large sublimation print from somewhere like Heat Transfer Warehouse or piecing together those sublimation prints might be an option for those larger sewing projects. But if you have small sewing projects and or you want a custom fabric design. So I just used some watercolor florals in this, but you could use like a pattern with a name in it, someone's name, make a very custom, very specific fabric, and then sew a project out of it. And then for this canvas material, I could also see this sublimating on it and, you know, using it for home decor type stuff. A pillow cover. You could frame this once you sublimate on it. It is definitely a very high quality fabric, I feel like, and would be great for those home decor items. So when you're planning a fabric project, whether it's a sewing project, a home decor project, think about the type of fabric you're going to use And if you are thinking that fabric doesn't exist, it's not on the market, make your own custom fabric with sublimation and this tutorial. I really think you're gonna enjoy this, especially for those of you that love to sew or wanna dabble in like sublimating on some canvas and framing it up. So either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video and it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.